Right now I'm rocking science, but before that, I was a full-time dancer. No, not a ballet dancer, a hip-hop dancer. I grew up in New York City, in America, and I've been dancing ever since I can remember. When I first started dancing, I was self-taught, but I wasn't no good. It was only when I learned to follow the people who had come before me that I started to find my feet. I learned how to dance like this through practice. Also, through more practice. And then, tons of practice. And the last thing is mad practice. When I first started, I was way too stiff and not as relaxed and smooth as I am now. So basically, a big trick to learning these moves is what's called muscle memory. Muscle memory is your brain remembering sequences of moves and then committing them to memory. So the next time you go to perform the move, it just sort of happens. Muscle memory isn't just used by dancers, though. You also use it if you want to learn to ride a bike, or play a musical instrument, or video games. It doesn't take very long for muscle memory to kick in. After about 6 hours, your brain stops thinking about it and just does it. So how am I controlling my body to look like a robot or machine? Well, I'll show you this basic move. It's called a pop, and I'll use Fresno to show it to you. In a Fresno, you extend your legs twice, like that. And it looks like it's coming off your top. Really, it's from your legs. 2 hits, switch your legs, 2 hits this way. Keep practicing, dudes and dudettes, and you'll be in my crew in no time. Peace.
Jackie, welcome to Nathan's Yoga Dojo.
I don't think that's what it's called.
Jackie, less talking, more action. Okay, stand up straight, put your head back, and start slapping your belly. Slap twice, rub twice. Slap twice, rub twice. This will help your breakfast go down 5 times as fast. Slap, slap, rub, rub. Slap, slap, rub, rub. Slap, slap, rub, rub.
I don't think that's how the human digestive system works, Nate.
I don't want to talk myself up too much or anything, but I reckon I can move that cup there with this tube here. Believe it or not, it's not a magic trick, but it's actually an invisible donut from my air Vortex Cannon. Thanks, Nathan. What is a vortex? Well, to some, it's the portal to an alien planet, but to the rest of us here on planet Earth, it's a spiral motion of air or fluid that pulls everything into its centre. It's kind of like dancing in an empty space. Air is a gas that expands to fill the space that it's in, and the molecules of air are much further apart than those molecules in liquids or solids. If you're a liquid, it would be a bit more like a room with a few people in it. But if the room was so jam-packed that you couldn't move, that would be a solid. So my air cannon works by forcing all of the air molecules down the tube. When I do this, I'm applying the force. Now, the air that's travelling down the sides is actually going slower than the air that's going through the middle, which is going straight out through the hole, because the hole is actually smaller at this end. And that creates the vortex. If you want to make one of these at home, this is what you'll need. Scissors, an art knife, a small roll of tape, a large roll of electrical tape, a balloon, some cardboard and a pen, some talcum powder, and a tube of chips. So the first thing you need to do is eat all of your chips. When you're full, you're going to chop off the bottom of the tube with your art knife. Now this can be dangerous, so make sure you ask an adult to do it for you. Now you've cut the bottom off, you actually need to make a circle the same size as the bottom of the tube out of the cardboard. I'm going to trace around the lid to make it easier. Now we've made our outer circle, we need to draw a slightly smaller inner circle, about 1 inch in from the edge. So I'm going to use my small roll of tape to draw around again. I need to make a hole in the middle so I can cut the inner circle out. Now you can cut the outer circle out. Now you've got a hole that's about 1/2 inch or 1 centimetre smaller than the end of your tube, so just stick it on with that electrical tape. Turn and fold the tape down as you're sticking. Trust me, it's easier than it looks. So once it's secure, then wrap tape all around your tube, just so it looks a bit neater and cooler. Once you've finished taping the tube, the final step is to put a balloon across the end. And then stretch your balloon over the open end of your tube, just like that. Once the balloon is as tight as you can make it, tape it down. And there you go. You've got your air cannon. But remember, we need to add some powder so that we can see the vortex that we're going to make. So take the talcum powder and shake some into your air cannon. Shake it around a bit like this, just so that the talcum powder gets into the air. And when you're ready, just give the end a ping. Those vortex donuts were okay, but I think I can do bigger and better. Meet my smoke cannon 2.0. Okay, Nathan! It moved! Oh! Hey! Shot! Okay, bye Nathan, thanks. Alrighty, now it's time to take to the streets with this baby, my air cannon 3.0. Let's knock some hats off. Okay, come on in, cannon holders. Okay, hold on tight. 3, 2, 1. Whoa! Woo! 3, 2, 1. Woo! Yeah, we did it! Yeah!
Nathan, what's this one called?
Jackie, this one's called the sleeping great white shark because sharks have to keep on moving when they're sleeping, especially great white sharks. But not all sharks. Some sharks can sleep on the bottom.
Okay, that's really impressive, Nate.
I was lucky enough recently to visit Antarctica, the southernmost continent on Earth. Antarctica is a really cool place, and by cool and it's cold. And it's massive, almost twice the size of Australia, and most of it is covered in ice, so it's really cold down there. I need to wear lots of really, really warm clothes here in Antarctica. Oh, and that seal is getting a little bit angry at me. I think I better move away now. The animals in Antarctica weren't always angry. In fact, most of the time, they look like they were having a lot of fun. I'm on Peterman Island in Antarctica, and behind me is a colony of gentoo penguins. They're playing in the melted pools of glacier water. Hi guys. It's so cool seeing so many amazing creatures in real life and up close. Their natural habitat is really cold, much different to Australia. Antarctica is actually considered a desert because it doesn't rain much down there. A little bit different to how you would normally picture a desert, right? Icebergs are used by lots of different species of animals. Fish and krill swim around the bases of icebergs, whilst penguins and seals, they often haul out on top for a sleep. Penguins penguins and seals can travel days and sometimes hundreds of kilometres in search for food, so they get pretty tired, and the iceberg is a perfect place for a nap. Other than checking out all the beautiful sights Antarctica has to offer, I also got to visit some awesome research stations where international scientists are working on heaps of really cool projects, like climate, waves, the animals on the bottom of the ocean floor, even penguin poo. How cool! Today I'm visiting the US research station of Palmer Station. Only 44 scientists and workers live here during the summer. Scientists come in and out, they work on whales, seals, penguins, ocean and climate. And everyone is doing their little bit so that we can create a better future. And as much as it was fun work, we also had time for other activities. Okay, getting ready to jump in this fun icy water. Wish me luck. Yep, that was freezing. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting, but it wasn't like taking a nice swim at an Australian beach on a summer day. Now, it's not always cloudy and cold. The sun does definitely come out, and it's so bright here, I need some sunglasses. It was such an amazing experience going to Antarctica. I honestly feel like I left a little piece of my heart down there, but hopefully I'll be back soon to hang out with the penguins.
This is the ancient Roman city of Pompeii. Well, this is what it would have looked like before a massive volcano in Italy called Mount Vesuvius popped its top and erupted in 79 AD. The whole city was completely covered in ash, and it nearly wiped out the whole of the population of Pompeii. This brick model of Pompeii contains 190,000 bricks, and it took 470 hours to build the whole thing. That's about 5 weeks. It shows how the people of Pompeii lived. There are bathhouses, businesses, people cooking with cooking utensils. It was a really bustling city, and people were just going about their daily business when the massive volcano went off. When Mount Vesuvius erupted, temperatures soared to over 500 degrees Celsius, and the whole city was covered in tons of ash. It was so sudden when the volcano went off that everything was left perfectly preserved under all that volcanic matter for nearly 1,700 years. When archaeologists started to excavate Pompeii, they didn't actually find any bodies, but what they did find were gaps in the lava that had set over the city. And they discovered that these gaps were actually left behind by the bodies of the people who'd lived here. So they pumped plaster of Paris into the gaps and created perfect statues from these moulds of some of the people who lived in Pompeii. Ouch! Mount Vesuvius is actually an active volcano, and it's gone off 50 times in the last 2,000 years. Scientists think it's due to go off again soon, but with modern technology, they can monitor it and pinpoint exactly when it's going to happen so that it won't be dangerous for people like him.
Jackie, keep those legs and arms moving. Left, right, left.
Oh, the
right,
old
left,
upside
right.
down turtle. But why is your head under your shirt, Nate?
Oh, well, did you know that most turtles can actually retract their necks and their heads into their shell to stay safe when they're being attacked by a predator?
Okay, well, this is definitely the weirdest yoga I've ever done.
I really love this jumper. It's a nice thick wool. But I've never really thought about where wool comes from. But I guess maybe... That's right, sheep. I'm here with Simone from Carmsley Hill City Farm. Simone's a shearer here. Simone, can you tell me about your job here on the farm?
Yeah, so I look after all different types of animals here on the farm, but especially the sheep. We've got about 600 sheep here, and I shear them one a day.
And how many times a year does the sheep need to be shorn?
A sheep needs to be shorn once a year. Otherwise, the wool just keeps growing and growing and growing, and it gets really heavy for them.
So they can't break down?
Yeah, they won't be able to bust any moves at the disco, and that would be really bad.
To get that wool off in summer must feel so good for them.
Yeah, I can imagine they feel a whole lot lighter. So shearing also protects them from flies, infection, and parasites as well.
So it's really important that sheep get shorn every year?
Yeah, definitely. Once a year, every year, they'll be happy.
So I know that's a different story out in the wild.
So in the wild, they shed their wool usually around once a year, but it just falls off onto the ground.
So the difference between our domesticated sheep is that we breed them so they grow wool all the time.
Yeah, so that they grow wool so that we can shear them and then we can make some excellent products with the wool.
So I think it's really important to ask if sheep feel any pain when they get shorn, because when I get a haircut, I don't feel any pain. Is it the same for sheep?
Yeah, it's the same for sheep, so they don't feel pain. It's like we just shave the wool off, like if we were shaving your hair off.
So sometimes when I shave, I give myself a few nicks, but that doesn't really hurt me. Is it the same with sheep as well?
Yeah, so definitely nicks can happen when you shear a sheep. They've got a really thick double skin, and then if there does happen to be a nick, we'll spray some antiseptic on it.
So Simone, how long does it take to shear a sheep, and what's the quickest that you've ever done?
It can take, depending on how good you are, a couple of minutes. I've actually never timed myself fully, but I think it would be about 2 to 3 minutes or so.
And the world record, I think, is about 38 seconds for a full-grown sheep.
Yeah, that's crazy. You won't see anything like that here. Otherwise, you'd blink and you'd miss it.
And how many sheep would an average shearer shear in a day?
Depending on how fast you are, up to 300 sheep a day. So that's a lot of sheep.
That is a lot of sheep per day.
Yeah.
Simone, what happens to a wool after a sheep is shorn?
All the wool goes and gets pressed into a bale, which is a big bag of wool, about 150 kilos of wool in a bag. It gets sent off to a place where the wool gets cleaned, so all the dirt and the twigs gets taken out. The lanolin also gets taken out as well, which is the oil in the wool. And then it's going to go through some processes. It's going to get spun and combed, and then we can make a yarn, and then we can make things out of the wool.
One cool thing about wool that I know is that it's got resistance to bacteria, so it means that it will never really smell bad, unlike my gym socks and my shoes.
Yeah.
What else do you know about wool that's quite cool?
So wool has lanolin in it, which is like a natural oil that is produced from the sheep, and we actually take the lanolin from the wool and it gets used in our like face moisturisers and our hand cream, so it's really good for your skin.
And sheep have natural UV protection built right in, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and that's so that the sheep and the lambs don't get sunburnt.
That's amazing. Now, I'm loving my jumper. Simone, I know you're loving my jumper. I'm going to show you a very quick way that you can dye wool to get a jumper as cool as this. It's really simple to be able to dye your own wool. All you'll need is a bowl full of water with some vinegar, some food colouring of your choice, and some gloves, so that you're protecting yourself from the food colouring and your hands don't stain. You'll also need some freshly shorn wool. You can use warm water, which will speed up the process, but tap water is fine too. You want to add some vinegar to your water as well. About 1 part vinegar to about 3 parts water should do. Add the food colouring of your choice. I'm using blue because I want to make a jumper as cool as the one I'm wearing right now. Remember, when using food colouring, make sure you're wearing gloves as well so you don't get dye all over your hands. And remember to add a little bit more food colouring so that you really get a rich, vibrant colour in what you're dyeing. And now, add some colouring. So I'm adding blue because blue matches my jumper. You know what? We need a little bit more food colouring than that because, as I said, you want to make it that nice, vibrant colour because you want the wool to absorb as much as it can. And the vinegar is really going to help that today. Add your wool in when you're ready and really dunk that in. Make sure that it's covered and submerged by all that dye. All you need to do now is set it aside for about an hour or 2. Overnight is even better. And have a look at it tomorrow. Now, I did one a little bit earlier as well, and I left mine overnight. And here's something that you should get. So again, you've got that nice, vibrant blue colour, but if I wanted that a little bit more darker, I'd probably add just a little bit more food colouring as well. I'm really happy with this colour, and this has given me an idea. I'm going to make jumpers for my entire family. But first, I've got to dye all this wool, and then I've got to weave it into yarn, and then I've got to learn how to knit. This is going to take a while.
Jackie, welcome to the last exercise of the day. It's called breakfast.
What?
Yep, that's right. It involves a spoon, a hand movement, and some yogurt. And all you have to do is this. 1, 2,
Nathan,
whoa.
I don't think that's yoga.
No, it's yogurt. No, yoga. Oh, it's basically yogurt with herb. Yogurt, herb, yoga.
Okay, that's very creative. Check out what's coming up next time on Get Clever.